Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Jukebox Junkies, a podcast where we tackle music industry topics, trends, and pop culture moments. Today, we're going to start a two-part episode reacting to our favorite and our least favorite songs of the year. Today, we're going to start with my list. So both of us have put together a list of our 20 best and worst songs of the year, so we're just going to break them down, debate, fight each other, what you have to do when you're talking about your favorites and least favorites. So, are you ready, Kelsea?
Definitely ready.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am great. Just stressing about this list. As one does, because it's funny. So I put these like lists together every year, and this was one of the hardest ones to make. I don't know if it's just because I had more time to really listen to music more this year, or just I don't know if I just like the music better this year or whatever. But like even the song that I have at number 20, I on the right day I could have put it at number 1.
Right, for sure. That was a hard part about doing this list, like finding where to put everybody on it
Yeah.
exactly.
So that's why. So one of the rules that we put together for our list is a 2 artist limit for like the lead artist, because as we've talked about in several podcasts, I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan and I love the album Folklore. So my list could have had like at least half or more Taylor Swift songs. So I was like, I have to limit this.
There's 16 songs on that album, in case you guys were wondering. So that
Yeah.
left 4 spots for other songs.
Exactly. And those other 4 would probably go to Harry Styles. So
I figured that.
so, and even my worst list, like I have some songs on my worst list that I don't necessarily hate. I just have more problems with them, like maybe the artist that was on them or what have you. Like I know this artist can do better or whatever. Starting with number 20 of my favorite songs of the year, Camila Cabello, First Man. Such a beautiful song.
Okay. I have a confession to make. I was not behind this whole second era of Camilla as much as I was the first one.
No.
No.
See, I actually wasn't either.
It just didn't jive to me.
Hmm.
And I get the meaning behind First Man, and it is a good song, but to me it's a middle of the pack song.
That's fair. And I think a lot of people agree, but I'm such a big fan of hers that and I love her ballads. I think she does such a beautiful ballad. Like I think her voice is just beautiful. I actually argued with one of my friends the other day that I don't think she's like how did I word it? I think she might be the best overall vocalist working in music right now. Like, and I mean, there's a lot of other ones too, and that's just a personal opinion. But I just love, love, love her voice so much. And First Man, I just love the storytelling, and I think just the whole idea about your her loving her dad and writing a love song to her dad. I thought it was just beautiful, so I had to put it here.
I I appreciate it too.
Yeah,
Dads are a touchy topic for me.
that's fair.
Um,
Yeah.
I lost mine when I was 12, so
Oh, damn. I'm sorry.
yeah, he passed away in a car wreck, and things happen, life moves on, but so and maybe for that reason, maybe that's another reason why I don't really connect to this song, because I'm like, yo, look, you've had your whole life with your dad, and
Yeah.
I'll just have to skip on to the next one.
But this is one of those songs that um a lot of times when I hear it, I get teary eyed just because I just think it's beautiful, and not every song can instill emotion to me the way this one has.
Okay.
So moving on to number 19, bringing the pace up, we have Conan Gray, who is one of my absolute favorite new artists of this year with his song Maniac. This is
Right.
such a fun song.
It is.
Like Conan Gray, I think he could have some serious potential to be one of the A-list stars of this next 10 years. I think he's really on the precipice of just blowing up. He just needs that one song that's going to put him over the top.
Right.
And so this song, there's not much to it other than it's literally just one of the most fun songs of the year. And in a year where we were all depressed and sad and there was
Right.
so
Let's
much
just be real.
horrible, yeah, and there was so much horrible shit going on, the song made my day better when it came on. Now to a song that made me ultra sad, and I have like 4 sad songs in a row, so if we're ready, let's go. It's Alamo by Alec Benjamin.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Alec Benjamin. And actually, this song isn't really that sad until you get to the bridge. Like, how familiar are you with this song?
I've listened to it once or twice.
His album These Two Windows is by far my second favorite album of the year. Not counting Taylor Swift's brand new album Evermore because that just came out. So I'm just going to count that towards next year. We're just going to pretend like that came out next year. My favorite 2 albums of the year are Folklore and These Two Windows. And this song opens up, I believe, no, it doesn't. It's in the middle of the album. Mind is a Prison is the first track.
Yeah.
So disregard that. But this song, it's like, I don't know. It's almost Alec Benjamin at his best because it's it's kind of poppy. It's happy. Like there's a lot of moving parts. It's very like jumpy, and then it gets really depressing, and I love it. Like the bridge is. I know that on the surface it might seem like I'm just fine, but I can't eat. I barely sleep. Sometimes I want to run and hide. Feel like I'm dying in this cage. My soul is trapped. I feel confined. I just wish to let me out so I can finally live my life.
Whoa.
Like that is some poetry right there.
Yeah.
And we've talked about how I'm a sucker for poetic lyrics. So number 17 is Lauv Modern Loneliness. So good. I don't even really have too many thoughts other than just like this song's so good.
Right. Like we just love it.
Yeah. I think we've talked about Lauv a little bit before.
We
He
have.
is I'm a huge fan. I've talked about how Conan Gray, Alec Benjamin, Lauv, and Bazzi, who unfortunately did not get on this list this year because he didn't really release too much, uh, are like they're like my favorites. Like I just
Right.
love them so much. There's something about those 4 that I'm always rooting for them. Lauv, Modern Loneliness, a heartbreaking song about being lonely. It's like his song Fuck I'm Lonely with Anne Marie, but sadder.
That's a great way to put it.
But
Like the sequel, and you thought things were gonna get better, but just kidding.
yeah, and it really kind of makes me worried for Lauv's mental state. So, Lauv, if you're listening, I'm here. Please come talk to me. I will help you.
Right.
Like, but also, if you want to keep giving us bangers like this, I'm here for it. So, like, maybe we'll kind of help you halfway, and then right on your way out the door, just be like, "Psych," so you can give us some more sad songs. But
Oh
so,
man.
uh, the lyrics of this song are so interesting because it's about how like online and on social media and stuff you might seem super happy and you might have like a million followers, like you can be the most popular person online, but in your life you don't have anything. And so it's like this modern type of loneliness where you have all of these quote unquote friends, but there's still no one actually there for you. They're just all fake friends who are just going to give you a like or a follow or whatever.
Right.
So I thought it was a really interesting concept. Moving on to number 16, I have probably the saddest song of the year. It is Juice World's Righteous.
Yeah, the Juice World, there was just so much music
I know.
this year. It
I
was
know it,
it was almost overwhelming in a sense.
it was. And just this song, when I heard it, I burst into tears. I think it was released about a year ago, maybe not quite a year ago, but not long after he passed away.
Right.
And there's some parts of it that it's just like he is singing from the grave. It's like he knew his death was coming and he was writing songs about it. Even though he didn't commit suicide, obviously, it was an accidental overdose. Um, songs like this just really, knowing that he passed away not long after recording this and writing this, it really, really makes you feel for him. He has such a tragic story. Breaks my heart.
It I agree. It's hard to it's almost hard to listen to in a sense.
Yeah, I can't listen to it all the time, and I had to back away from it for a while because it was just so depressing. But
Yeah, just like you said, the tragic story. It's
and I do want to give a special shout out Wishing Well, which I don't have on my list. Is probably it's definitely one of my honorable mentions. Incredible song, kind of in a similar vein to Righteous. So that's why I chose Righteous over Wishing Well. I think it's just a little better of a song, but Wishing Well is also fantastic. So if any of you listening haven't heard it, just go listen to it. Actually, just listen to the whole Legends Never Die album. Highly recommend it. It's great.
for sure.
So moving on, number 15, I have Conan Gray, Heather. So Conan Gray song number 2. So that fortunately there will be no more. But do you know this song? Are you pretty familiar with this song?
I listened to this song because it was on your list.
Ah, what'd you think? Did you like
Um,
it?
it was okay. I
It's
definitely like Maniac better.
Yeah, and originally I did too. For a long time, I couldn't. I liked Heather, but I couldn't really get into it, and I was kind of forcing myself to listen to it because I'm like, I will like this.
Right. I mean, and like when I first heard it, it felt like something I should like, but I
Yeah.
wasn't. I'm just still I'm not sure, you know.
And so, what's interesting about the narrative, and if you or anyone listening, if you haven't realized, I love songs with these really deep narratives. And not all my songs are narrative based. Like, not everything I listen to is super deep. Like, the next song that we have is not deep at all. It's just cool. Um, but Heather, from what I have figured out from probably over 100 listens and really like studying it and trying to really figure out what it's about, and so I don't think Conan Gray is gay. He has not come out as gay. So I think he's kind of like Harry Styles, where he's not going to put a label on it. He's going to do whatever the hell he wants because it's 2020 and we don't need to label things if we don't want to.
Right.
Um, but I think what this song is about is Conan, or whatever the character that he's playing, um, fell in love with maybe either a straight or a bisexual guy who then went and fell in love with Heather. So it's a song about how he hates Heather because he wants her man, but Heather's a good person, so like it's not her fault, and like there's no one's at fault, but it's like I'm sad because I'm in love with him, and so he's gonna wear this sweater that he has from this guy, or yeah. So it's pretty
Aw.
deep after you really start thinking about it, and once you really listen to what's happening. That's why I think Conan Gray is one of those artists that could really do so well, because Maniac and Heather are total opposites sonically, stylistically. Everything is totally different, and so he's very versatile.
Right. It does speak to that, his versatility.
So moving on to number 14, one of my favorite artists of the entire year. It is Megan Thee Stallion, Girls in the Hood.
Mm, 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 mm.
And I, maybe because I'm stupid, or I don't know, I'm not as familiar with old school hip hop as I should. I didn't realize until a couple weeks ago that this was the remix to Boys in the Hood, even though obviously it's like by Easy.
Right,
Even though
yeah.
like I know that song, but like I, for some reason, I never made that connection.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah. But
I
if anybody asks, I totally knew it the whole time,
definitely, like, I knew
because
what that was,
because
totally.
I'm a music business major and I know all songs and all music
Right,
ever.
for sure.
That's what I tell people, at least.
That's what they like to think anyways, when you tell them you're a music business major.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm personally, I'm torn on the whole Megan Thee Stallion in general.
Really?
Yeah. She's another artist that I feel like I'm supposed to like, but I don't like, because I
Yeah.
love Cardi B. I'm here for Nicki Minaj. I'm here for female rappers and females in the hip hop industry, period, because there's not many of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. She falls short for me. I don't know. She even WAP, and it was one of the biggest songs of the year, and it didn't make my list or anything, but
Mhm.
I only listened to it because of Cardi B.
Yeah.
So I don't
See,
know.
I love both of them, so it was like perfect for me.
And
But no,
especially on this Girls
it
in the
didn't make either of
Hood,
my
you
lists.
are remixing like one of the biggest hip hop songs on the
Yeah.
planet. Like this is another situation where you have to bring it, and I just don't know that, in my opinion, she didn't.
Right. Yeah, and I've said this, and um, we may or may not have more Megan Thee Stallion coming up, so hold on, everybody. But I said this a lot of times. I think it's weird that Savage was a bigger hit than Girls in the Hood, because I think Girls in the Hood is a more likable song in a lot of ways.
It's definitely more marketable.
Yeah, but more on that coming up. Dun dun dun. So up next, I have song number 1 from Harry Styles. It is "Lights Up." Probably not the song that most people would pick from his album or anything he's put out this year, but
At all. I
personally,
was so surprised.
yeah. So I like Coldplay a lot. Like and we talked about Coldplay quite a bit in um our Grammy episode.
Right.
Lights Up sounds a lot like a Coldplay song to me. It sounds like it has the same kind of artistic melodies and a similar vocal pattern that Chris Martin uses.
I do agree with that, but I was surprised to see it here. I was.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those songs that um when you're like if you're like not really in your feels, but if you're just like vibing, if you want, I don't know how to word it, but like that vibe, you're levitating. Spoiler alert, coming up soon. If you're just chilling out, it's one of those songs you can either put on your headphones, or if you're in your car, you turn it up, and it sets like this whole atmosphere. Like it's very atmospheric, very big, and that's
It
what I like
is.
about it.
That album was just so good. I didn't expect this to be the first one that
Yeah,
we saw.
yeah, and Golden, shout out to Golden. It's not on my list, but because it's still a single they're pushing. So look for Golden to be on my list next year, because I
Right.
only had 2 spots and I wanted to make sure I got to talk about Lights Up and the other one that's may or may not be coming up soon. So hold on, everybody.
Right.
But moving on, number 12, uh, Dua Lipa, who we've talked about at length on this podcast, alongside the baby Levitating.
Yay, yay, yay. I really have nothing bad to say about this placement or this song.
Aside from part of me wishes it was higher,
Right.
but not everything can be in my top 5, I suppose. But like everything from here on, just assume we're at number 1 for the rest of these, okay?
Okay.
So we don't really have to say too much about Levitating, and honestly, this could have been Future Nostalgia, this could have been Don't Start Now, this could have been Break My Heart, could have been Physical, could have been Hallucinate.
Could have
It
been all of them.
literally, even on the right day, Boys Will Be Boys. Like it
Right.
literally could have been. Side note, did you see her performance at the Billboard Women in Music where she performed that?
No.
You have to watch it. Her vocals sounded better than I've ever heard. I was
I
very
saw
impressed.
her picture of her fancy dress where she won the award.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, Dua Lipa, DaBaby, beautiful team up. Although this could have been the original, also this can be we can just say this is a Missy Elliott Madonna remix. All versions of Levitating are at number 12.
There you go. I
It's
agree
just
with that.
the Levitating the song with whoever you want to put as the featured artist. So at number 11, we're going to do another DaBaby feature. This time with Camila Cabello. It is My Oh My.
This song, okay, so she did the little snippets on Instagram when she was releasing this.
Yeah.
And I heard the dun 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 dun, and immediately out of all of these songs, that one stuck out, and I was like, "Okay, Camila, it better be good."
Yeah. And it
And it
was.
delivered. Like, I was super impressed. Out of the whole entire album, I would say that's my favorite song.
Yeah, me too, for sure. Um, well,
Even
yeah,
even over Senorita. I mean, hands down.
yeah. I think. Well, I. It's weird because I'm not a huge fan of that album. There are a lot of songs I like. I don't know. I have a weird relationship with romance, but My Oh My is just such a it's another one of those songs that's just purely fun. I think this
Yes.
kind of even though the song itself isn't dark, some of the production elements are darker, and Camila has such a light, airy voice. They like balance each other out. It works really well for her. And then the baby just kills this feature, I
For
think.
sure.
Yeah, so it's just one of those songs that works. And I hate when people say this is just Havana 2.0 because it's similar, but it's very much its own thing.
Definitely. It's not I don't see Havana at all.
Yeah. So moving on into my top 10, we have. So I do have a lot of repeats of artists on here. Like I did fill out my 2 song quota for a lot of these artists. So up next, number 10, I have Juice World and Marshmello with Come and Go.
Come and go. I once again have nothing bad to say about the song and or its placement.
Yeah, except that I wish it was number 1, like, I wish all these songs were at my number 1 spot. It's just so much fun, and this is one of those songs that it not only does it blend so many genres, it is so much fun. It shows that Juice WRLD, he was growing so much as an artist, and that's why it hurts me so much that he's
Yes.
gone,
Yes,
'cause
you
he was just at the start of his artistic vision, I think. He
and
had
his
so much going.
capabilities.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like, Righteous and this song are again are very, very different. And and then I don't know, just Juice World. I
one
miss
of
you,
my
buddy.
favorites is Titanic.
Yeah, uh, I do remember that was one of my standouts, but I didn't stick with me. I didn't go back to it. I remember I really liked Conversations and I really like Bad Energy.
Right.
So
Well, I just like
shout
the
out to
catchy
both of
little hook.
those. Yeah. Yeah, that whole album except for one song, the one with Trippie Redd, I
Yeah.
that was the one that I don't like at all. At number 9, I have
Mhm.
Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande. So even though I put Ariana on my worst list, I redeemed myself with her on the best list. So because I do love you, Ari, this is Rain on Me.
Rain on me. I I thought about this song. This is another song I thought really, really hard about because I love it and I hate
Yeah,
it.
I get that.
So I don't know. But I was glad to see that it made your list. At least it made one of our lists.
Yeah, I just think in the first couple times I heard it, I was like, I don't know, like this is weird. Like I don't think they work together, but I just think it's so much damn fun. And it's Gaga doing her thing. Like this is the most Lady Gaga song that's come out in a very long time from her.
For sure. I agree with that. And I don't know. I guess first listen when the album came out, I was reading the Apple Music notes again.
Hmm. Naturally.
And it came to the part where she talked about this song and apparently like she didn't come right out and say that Ari was nervous, but she kind of hinted at that. And she was like, I was like, girl, just let it go, do your thing. You know you're great. And then that's how we ended up with the version of the song that we know and love. So
Interesting.
that's why like I want to love it entirely so much, but then at the same time it kind of annoys me.
Moving on to number 8, I have a song that is a little divisive. It's Megan Thee Stallion, the original remix. Yeah, just the original Savage, just not the remix with Beyonce. Just Savage with Megan Thee Stallion.
Okay, so yeah, Savage, I've already said I think that I don't like this song.
Yeah,
um,
Which that just surprised me.
I don't know. I like the TikTok dances. Like I thought it was an appropriate kind of TikTok song, but
Yeah.
the whole thing together didn't really mesh with me. I love the Beyonce remix. I love to hear Beyonce on the track.
Yeah, see, I'm definitely in the minority that I used like when the Beyonce remix first came out, I hated it. I just could not stand it. But now, like I go back and listen to it, and I listen to it a lot. Like when I was working on our uh, Grammy episode and stuff, because that's the version that's nominated for all the Grammys. I re-listened to it, and I went into it with the idea that it is a different song than Savage. So now I don't dislike it as much.
Right,
It's
but
just
the
I'm not a huge fan of it.
and that's okay. I could
Yeah,
see that. A lot of people don't understand this whole like hip hop rap thing Beyonce's doing, and I don't think I understand it either, but I'm here for it. I love
yeah,
it. I like the huskiness of her, like her voice. I don't know. It's
yeah.
mm.
But moving on to number 7, we have DaBaby and Roddy Ricch, Rockstar.
I genuinely love this song
Me too. And we've talked about this song quite a bit. It's just one of those universally loved songs, I think. It's
for
kind of
sure.
hard not to like it.
Right. I didn't put it on my list because I'll be honest, I was fairly certain it was gonna make yours. And I
Yeah.
wanted to be able to maybe talk about a few other artists or songs that we weren't gonna touch on with
Yeah.
your list. So but I do love this song and it was definitely in contention.
Yeah. And I'm really surprised I didn't have at least one more Roddy Ricch song on here because I'm a big fan of his from this year. Um, like I almost put High Fashion on this list. I love that song.
High Fashion is a good song.
And people sleep on it. It was like people just I don't know. It wasn't doesn't get the attention it deserves.
It
It's a
doesn't.
fantastic song. That or
But
Ballin, like both of the collaborations he did with Mustard, they were
the
both incredible. People sleep on them.
the only two songs I have from his album, Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial, are The Box and High Fashion.
Yeah,
So
and the box I do really like the box, but it was never a song that I was gonna put on this list. It's
oh,
on
for sure.
it'd be on my honorable mentions, but I don't know. It never quite filled that. It never hit that I love this song
It's like the
status.
rest of those TikTok songs. It's okay in bits, but
Yeah, exactly. But DaBaby, Roddy Ricch, they're revolutionizing hip hop. They're gonna be. I think both of them are gonna be really big forces this next decade. Like I
oh, I
think there's a
agree.
big future for both of them. So I'm very excited, and I hope they both of them together or separately can have more songs like Rockstar that are more melodic and not as just straight rap that like DaBaby's really good at, like a bop, for example.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so I got to cheat with my DaBaby on here because it was his two features. I was able to get a lead artist DaBaby song on this list too.
Yeah.
But so moving on to number 6 is a full on
Country
country.
song.
It's incredible. It's Kelsea Ballerini's "Hole in the Bottle."
This is another song that I only listen to because of your list.
Yeah, it. So I do you remember we were in I don't even remember what class it was, and we had to do I think everyone had to do an album or a song review article.
Yeah.
And so I did her album, Kelsea. Yeah, because I wanted to do something different. Not just, I didn't want to, like, I think it was before Folklore came out. But, so I was like, I don't want to do Lover. I don't want to do the same kind of thing I always do. So I was like, let me get out of my comfort zone a little bit, but not too far. And she had just put out this album. So, like, you know what? Let me go listen to Kelsea Ballerini. I like Homecoming Queen. This should be good. And I fell in love with it, specifically this song. So much fun.
It's a cute song. I'm the simple Southern girl that doesn't like country music though. So
Yeah. It's just I just think it's just a funny song. It's such a traditional country song where this guy upset her. She goes to a bar. She's just drinking wine, but there's a hole in the bottle. She can't figure out where it's going, so she just needs more. And, and I just I think, and like I said, in a year where everything kind of sucked, this is a song that just I gave put a smile on my face. It gave me a good laugh, and I love the announcer lady in the beginning saying, "Oh, how does it go?" I can't remember how it goes, but I thought that was a cool element. We are now in my top 5 favorite songs of the year. And
Top
I will say that
five.
there's one of these songs I had back a little further. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? This song has to be higher. Because originally, Hole in the Bottle was my number 5. But I had to move. My number 4 song, which we will get to, was originally, I think, my number 7. And I moved it up.
Oh yeah, that's a good choice.
Yeah. So, number 5 is it's Hole in the Bottle. No. God, Dylan, I'm stupid. It is Circles by Post Malone.
So I've really been holding back on you. Like Circles is okay, but it's not my favorite song.
Yeah, I'm surprised by how much I've loved it this year because in the scope of Post Malone's music, I don't think it's his best. But for some reason, I constantly, nonstop, was going back to this song this year. I literally just could not stop listening to it. And then it just became like one
Its
of my
own
absolute
thing.
all-time favorites. Yeah, like to me it got like bigger than life, and I couldn't stop listening to it. I was singing it like nonstop for this entire year. I just loved it.
See, whereas I was like listening to Take What You Want with Ozzy Osbourne.
And so, like a year ago or so, like when his album first came out, and like when Take What You Want first came out, I was like, "Oh, this is so much better than Circles. Why isn't this the big hit?" And I do genuinely love Take What You Want. Like, don't get me wrong, I think that song is a genius. It's a beautiful piece of music. Like one of the greatest songs of the past many years. But it's not that it didn't stick with me. I don't know. I went listened to it a lot and then didn't really go back to it. Whereas
Right.
Circles, I found myself going back to a lot. So I don't know what that's all about. But yeah, like, and there's nothing specific about Circles that I even have to say other than it was just one of those songs I could not stay away from this year.
Gotcha.
So number 4 is the song that I originally had back further, and then I was like, wait a second, I love this song way more than this, so I had to move it up. It is Alec Benjamin again, but this time with Mind is a Prison.
It's such a good song.
It is, and it is so relatable because I don't know about you, but I'm somebody that is constantly in my head. When I'm like with a lot of people, I'm more reserved, I'm quieter. I don't always speak up. I just listen to everything that's going around me and just kind of take it all in. And my I'm constantly thinking I always have so much going on like in my head, like I'm
Right.
analyzing everything. I'm thinking about so much, um, almost to a fault. And this song was so relatable. Like my mind is a prison. Like I don't like it's talking about how just because I live in, like I think he says, I live in California, but California is not where I live. I'm
Right.
prisoner in my mind. So like, and then like my eyes are my windows, and again, it's just so poetic. I love it.
I mean, there's really nothing bad to say about that song.
No, like why is Alec Benjamin not the biggest pop star in the world? I don't know.
I feel like he's gonna be like Shawn Mendes, and here in a few years, we'll really be able
Yeah,
to
he
see
need,
his hard work pay off.
and I hate to say it, but I think in order for him to get that kind of recognition, he's going to have to sell out a little bit and maybe
Yeah.
do some more generic music before he can go back to his really good stuff, which I really don't want him to do. But if it means getting Alec Benjamin really popular, I'm here for it.
Right.
But I tell everybody my 2 favorite artists right now are Taylor Swift and Alec Benjamin. And everyone's like, who's Alec Benjamin? Like, just you wait. And I do want to say shout out to the song Just Like You, to Jesus in LA, and to Must Be the Wind. Must Have Been the Wind, sorry. They are all beautiful masterpieces of music that I think everybody needs to hear. So if you haven't, go listen to them.
Right now.
Right now. Do it. Okay, so at number 3, we have a song that we talked about at great lengths last week in our podcast. It is, and obviously we have a 2-song artist limit, and we still have not talked about this artist, so I don't know if that tells you anything, but at number 3, it is Taylor Swift with Betty.
Betty, your pick off of Folklore. This pick off of Folklore, really, it didn't surprise me, but in a way it did, because there's so many songs to choose from the album. And I was excited to see which 2 you picked, and I knew this was one of your favorites, but I didn't know if it would make the cut.
Yeah, I had such a hard time picking the 2 that I was going to include on here, because maybe we can get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But it was, we'll just say it was really, really hard, because I genuinely have so much love for almost all of those songs. But Betty, just being part of that that teenage love triangle that is part of Cardigan and Betty and August, and her kind of returning to her country roots, and I think it's one of the best stories on the entire album, and I think it's just one of the best well-constructed songs. And plus, Taylor Swift says, should I just go fuck myself? Like, immediately, one of my favorites. So I had to put it on here.
All right.
So number 2, I have Harry Styles, to no one's surprise, this time with Adore You.
The song choice was a surprise.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you expect it to be Watermelon Sugar?
Yes, I did.
Watermelon Sugar is probably my least favorite song of his, like, of this whole era. Maybe off of the entire album.
Well, you're very good at hiding it.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a great song, like, don't get me wrong, but I feel like a lot of his other songs have a lot of, like, good storytelling elements, or there's a lot more going on, where Watermelon Sugar is, to me, the most generic song on the album.
Right.
But Adore You, especially paired with the music video, incredible. There's just so much going on in his voice and the melody and the instruments and the atmosphere that he creates, and it is just the most good song ever. Sometimes I'm so bad at putting words in things that I really love. I'm just like, it's so good, just believe me.
Right, I'm telling you the truth. 10 out of 10 recommend. I thought about Harry Styles and Fine Lines a lot. See, guys, Dylan made this whole honorable mention list, and he went, like, above and beyond. I didn't make an honorable mention list, but if I did, Harry Styles would have been on it with Adore You.
Right.
I love this song so much.
It should have been nominated for Grammys more than just album of the, or for best music video.
For sure, I agree, and I mean, there's really nothing bad to say about it. I love that it's your second most loved song of 2020.
Really is.
So
it's kind of like Circles. I just could not stay away from it. It was one of the for mainstream songs that were huge on radio. I'm so happy it was this and not something like Memories by Maroon 5 that was constantly, that I couldn't get away from.
right.
Because I think Harry Styles is the future of pop music, along with several of these other artists that we've talked about. I mean, obviously he's already been around for a decade, but as a solo artist, this is the first time he's really, really been super popular and successful.
Right, made headlines.
Yeah.
Well, we won't say made headlines, but in a sense, on his own.
Yeah. So before we get to my number 1 song, and I promise I'm not going to read my honorable mentions list, because we'd be here for forever. I will post this list and both these lists and the honorable mentions list on our Facebook page. So listen to this. Go like us on Facebook. Go check out the other songs I really love this year that I couldn't put on here, including the songs by like Taylor Swift and Dua Lipa and Harry Styles, like that I couldn't fit on here. Alec Benjamin that I really wish I could have, but I just couldn't. So those and much more other songs that might surprise you, go check out my honorable mentions list on our Facebook page.
For sure.
So at number 1, to no one's surprise, is the queen herself, Taylor Swift, with The Last Great American Dynasty.
This is
Beautiful,
the
beautiful.
Taylorist Taylor song of Taylor songs. So it's a good choice. I like to see that heading up this list.
Yes. And I think from how I gushed about it on last week's podcast, nobody should be surprised that this is the one I chose.
Right. I mean,
Like how I said last week, it has the greatest narrative shift and biggest plot twist in any song like I've ever heard. Aside from maybe like Paradise by the Dashboard Lights by Meatloaf. Like like I'd put it on that level of plot twist fodder.
twist.
But yeah, like aside from what I said last week, there's not too much more to say other than it's an incredible history lesson. It's an incredible story. Taylor sounds just great on here, has a great melody, and
Really good
I
job.
love that it's about the family that lived in the house that she now lives in. It's so interesting. It's so cool to me. But so what I was saying about when we were talking about Betty, it was so hard for me to just pick 2 of these songs off of Folklore because I like Cardigan could have been here, Invisible String could have been here, August for sure, Hoax, Seven, like they're all so great, and it pained me to, especially not having Cardigan on here, really kind of hurts. But since I only had to pick 2, I'm happy I went with Betty in The Last Great American Dynasty. But if we were just doing like hits or singles, Cardigan would be my number 1. But
I
that's
don't
that.
know. Your top favorites weren't really much of a surprise to me. I've heard you talk about these people. Um but your least favorites were kind of like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Obviously, everything we have said here is just my opinion, it's just her opinion. So we're not saying just because I don't like a Blackpink song, just because we talk bad about it, does not mean you need to cancel us, okay? Because we don't want to be canceled. We're just starting out.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's it. I hope you guys have found some songs that maybe in my best list that maybe you haven't heard of, or some artists that we mentioned that you haven't heard of that you're going to go check out. If you haven't heard of some of these more unknown artists that I talked about in my favorites list, like Alec Benjamin, or I mean, Kelsea Ballerini is not unknown, but if you're like a pop fan, you're not a huge fan of hers, maybe check out some of her music. Um, some of Conan Gray or Lauv that we've talked about. I highly recommend checking them out. Any of these other songs, any of these other artists that I talked about, checking them out. But any of the songs about Worthless, just don't do it.
For sure. Like, don't even waste your time. It's
nobody,
I'm just kidding.
nobody
Except for
needs,
Stuck With You.
nobody needs Stuck With You in their life.
Yes,
Just
they
you can.
do.
No one. Okay, no one needs Breland and Sam Hunt's My Truck in their life.
Yeah, for sure. That part.
There we go. We can agree. All right. So I think that wraps it up for today.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Jukebox Junkies, where we break down music industry trends, topics, and politics. This week we delved into Dylan's most loved and hated songs of 2020. Do you guys agree with his opinions?
You
Let us
better.
know in the comments below. Join us next week as we dive into Chelsea's most loved and hated songs of 2020. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and always let us know if there's any topics you want us to talk about.
Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.